Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. Not only we get to review Impact Wrestling, as you know, we come out of the fallout from Under Siege, and Ring of Honor, as you know, has two title matches, the Pure Wrestling Championship and the Women's Championship, and we got plenty of surprises that took place. However, as you may or may not have been aware of, MLW has been going through a lot of complications to display their product in YouTube or various other locations. Well, MLW Fusion is back. We got some two killer matches while they head to Tijuana to do some interesting super series down there. We have, of course, the Luchadors versus wrestlers here in the state, and we got plenty others. Of course, we got some news updates going on to see what events are being put out, what wrestlers or matches being booked, and various other things. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, as I said it before earlier, we got MLW Fusion back, so you guys should know it's back on YouTube, so you guys should be able to check it out. So, as you know, they head down to Tijuana, Mexico for the Super Series along with AAA. Now, it starts out with, of course, a very interesting segment where the second gear crew, more consistent with Matthew Justice, Manders, and Mance, looks like they were having a hangover, but apparently they weren't the only ones. So was Microman. So it seems like they had a great time. Now, our opening match, we have tag team action. We got Abismo Negro Jr. along with Black Taurus taking on our current NWA World Tag Team Champions, La Rebelión, Mecha Wolf, and Bestia 666. Now, I know it's kind of strange for some of you that witnessed, wait a minute, really? Those guys? I thought they were NWA. They are, but I'm sure that there was some sort of agreement between both MLW and NWA, knowing that they're displaying them on their product. Now, keep in mind, these guys do have ties with AAA, so it would make sense. But it was a pretty good match. However, many people kind of thought, okay, Rebellion has a much better tag team, unity than Tarus and Mismo Negro Jr. Now, Mismo Negro Jr., he's part of a group known as Los Vipers. So he would have been with any group, but with his own team, but it didn't happen. But however, they did an amazing backbreaker in order to finish off the match, giving La Rebellion the win. Now, as you know, recently, is still no word on the whereabouts of Cesar Duran El Jefe. Now, John Hennigan, Sam Adonis, and Tail Valkyrie decided to pay a little visit to Willie Mack because they believe that he knows what happened to him. So, Willie Mack says, I'm willing to oblige if you give me a title shot. He was referring to John Hennigan as the National Openweight Champion. So, of course, it's going to happen. So, basically, Willie Mack has to tell them what he knows. We still don't know who was behind it. We did saw the last thing. The henchmen, two of them, kidnapped Cesar Duran, so it's still unclear what is going on that front. Now, the Bumaye Fight Club, as you know, they're getting closer to July 8th. As you know, Alex Kane is super pumped and ready for his match against Alex Hammerstone for the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. So he's confident enough to believing that this will be won by him and also in the name of the Bumaye Fight Club. Now, other than another interview, Delmy Exo once again has been pissed off knowing that Tail Valkyrie ducked her one last time, refuses to give her another title shot, but however, Court Bauer was not going to let Tail Valkyrie the dictator, so she said that in 2 weeks from now she'll get the opportunity. So basically, Delmy Exo believes that she will be the one to dethrone her. Now, our last match features John Hennigan, also known as Johnny Multiple, Gringo Loco, and Sam Adonis taking on Rey Horus, Hijo de Vikingo, and of course, Psycho Clown. I thought this match was pretty good. A lot of high flying and all this other stuff. I know that Gringo Loco had his feud with Vikingo in the past and all this other stuff. I thought it was pretty fun, but however, it was of course a code red by Psycho Clown on Adonis to give him the win. So I'm super excited how this whole thing turned out. But the obvious question is still wondering, where is Cesar Duran? Now, as we hit closer to July 8th, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So hope you guys are ready for that too. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's move on with Impact Wrestling. Okay, Impact Wrestling. As you know, they come out of their fallout from last Friday from Under Siege. And guess who comes out? Bully Ray. Giving out his promo, how proud of his work, putting the Moor through a burning table and all this. And of course, Steve Macklin showed up because it's no secret that Bully Ray's real intent is to obtain the Impact World Championship. However, Steve Macklin has his own way of thinking of what he thought of about that day. And of course, Bully could not, how to say, counter it. So basically, they kind of agreed. But however, the men who tried to defend the Moor showed up. We're talking about one of the best tag teams in the world, Moor City Machine Guns, came out. Alex Shelley comes in total confidence, going to against all odds against Bully Ray. Now, Bully Ray thinks that he doesn't have what it takes. But Chris Sabin made one fantastic point. Bully Ray said the same words 10 years ago to Chris Sabin when he defeated him for the Impact World Championship. So Sabin thought, how about you two against the two of us? But of course they would accept it, but not on the Pacific Day. However, Subculture comes out saying, since you two refuse to be in the same ring, well, we'll do it instead. So it became the main event. Now, Jimmy Jacobs conducted an interview with Nick Aldis. As you know, Nick Aldis has building up momentum. As you know, he came up with a great victory against Kenny King. Now it's been foretold there's going to be a number one contender, the 8-for-1 match. Now, those who don't know what that is, the 8-for-1 match is, it starts out with 8 wrestlers. There'll be 2 teams, and one team is eliminated, and then the remaining 4, they have to go in a 4-way match to determine the number one contender. So that's going to play out pretty well. We do know Bully Ray is going to be in it. Who else? Aldis himself, Rich Swann. I'm trying to remember who else. But yeah, so basically, Nick Aldis is still the same motivation going for the Impact World Championship. Now, our next match, we have Eddie Edwards along with his wife Alicia taking on Yuya Uemura. Now, Eddie Edwards proclaimed himself to be the locker room leader, despite the fact that, he thinks of that way. But he defeated. But of course, Alicia gets involved in the match to ensure her husband wins the match until the Boston Knee Party played an effect. But of course, Eddie Edwards, being a despicable person, tried to shake Uemura's hands, but Frank Kazarian was not going to let that slide, knowing that he is no locker room leader. Of course, Eddie Edwards would never allow him to speak that way. Then he got himself punched in the face. Got punched in the face by Kazarian. Alicia tried to help, but it didn't work. Now, our next match, we have Decay, Crazy Steve, and Black Taurus taking on Sami Callihan and Jake Crist. I thought this was a pretty good match, seeing Crist and Sami getting back together, known as Ohio versus everything or everyone, I don't know. But it was pretty good. But it was Jake Crist with a cutter onto Steve, and then of course Sami picked up the win. But things were cut short when of course the Design showed up and attacked them from behind. However, this was a calculated attack until Rich Swann shows up with the helping hand. Backstage, Sami was pissed off that Swann wasn't there, but Swann assured him that they calculated pretty well because they're fully aware that Swann, is going to be involved in the 8-for-1 match. So he knows that he cannot get involved in this, so he has to find someone new. But he always will have his back. So Sami said the doctor needs to call a monster. Now, there is one monster we can think of that he would call, and I think everybody knows, and I'm going to say his name, Madman Fulton. So that could be his monster. Now, Trinity Fatu, as you know, came up with a very successful win against Giselle Shaw. Now she faces the bodyguard or whatever she is to Shaw. This was a difficult challenge for her because she knows she's facing a very stronger competitor. But it wasn't easy for Trini Fatu until she applied the Starstruck, and it was over from there. But however, she called out Diana Purrazzo and asked her, let's have this match, you and me, for the Knockouts World Championship at Slammiversary. And of course, Diana obliged, saying, let's dance. However, they were viciously attacked by Vidal, Savannah, and Giselle Shaw, but there was something in the dang purse that knocked both these ladies out. However, Jordan Grace came out to help, but however, she was taken out by Giselle Shaw. We don't know how her condition is, but that's going to be how it turns out for them. Now, our next match, we have Danny Luna, who represents Subculture, taking on Jody Threat. I have to say, it's been a while since I've seen Danny Luna. The last time I saw her was at NXT UK, but it seems like she's still in good shape. Last time, remember, she was injured, but however, facing someone like Jody Threat was a lot more different until she applied a F-bomb onto her to pick up the win. Then we have Joe Hendry having discussions with Santino Marella. As you know, they're not happy with the results, how things were going with Dirty Dango. Santino couldn't, let that go. But he's telling Joe Hendry that he would put him in against all odds against Dirty Dango for the Digital Media Championship. But however, Kenny King feels that he's focusing way far away, so they focus on Sheldon Jean because, as you know, he got his nose broken by him. So basically, he got that match. Now, our main event, we have the Motor City Machine Guns versus Subculture. I thought this match was pretty unbelievable. I've always been a fan of these two wrestlers, how they are. But it was, of course, the dirt bomb that put away Morgan, giving the Motor City Machine Guns the win. However, how confident is Alex Shelley now, knowing that he will step in against a full-blown killer? Well, we'll just wait and see about that. So I think that's pretty much it with Impact Wrestling. So let's move on with Ring of Honor. Okie dokie. Ring of Honor. Starts out with the Infantry, Carly Bravo, and Sean Dean taking on the Kingdom. As you know, the Kingdom had a very tough loss in the recent against Action Andretti and Dante Martin in a fight without honor match. However, how would this affect them? Well, let's see who will be the ones to be under their skin, saying that they much like what happened with Andretti and Martin. Well, we'll see. But however, I have to say that this match was okay, but it was, of course, the Proton Pack to put away Dean and give the Kingdom their win. Next match, we got Sky Blue taking on Trish Adora. Pretty good match. Of course, Sky Blue was definitely going to win this match by applying the Skyfall, and it was done right from there. Then we have Dark Order, Reynolds, Silver, and Uno taking on the Righteous, Vincent, and Dutch, with their tag team partner, Stu Grayson. Now, we know the Righteous have been trying to convince him that he's better off with them, saying that the Dark Order have left them behind and they move forward, that they have gone weak since they last left. However, Uno refuses to fight his own best friend and tag partner for many years that he's known. But of course, there was a point where he got to his boiling point, let go of that he did not want to hurt him, but however, it didn't work by any chance until Stu Grayson pulled off a backbreaker onto him and allowing Vincent to win. So what does this mean for Dark Order? Well, now it's just reduced into 3. So is this the end of Dark Order, or will they try to recruit new members in order to keep themselves alive? We'll just wait and see until that day. Now, As you know, Zack Sabre Jr. and Samoa Joe had a hell of a good match. They can agree that they are two of the best. But once again, Joe decides to open his big fat mouth to say that, he's the better man. But sooner or later it was going to bound to happen. So it's all about the egos. Now, our next match, we have Diamante versus Promise Braxton. Good match. Of course, we have seen Diamante recently a few times. She did apply that finisher, I don't know, that submission move that she has done recently the last time we saw her, that gave her the win. Next up, we got Brian Cage versus Willie Mack. Now, this is deja vu again. These guys have faced each other multiple times on various occasions. One time in AEW Dark, they actually faced each other, which was very interesting to see. So it was a lot of fun, but I have to say it was pretty amazing until Cage applied the discus lariat, and boom, it was over right from there. Now, our next match, we have the IWGP Women, the World Television title. Rocky Romero faces Zack Sabre Jr. This was not an easy match for Zack Sabre Jr. No matter what, Rocky has a bit of the technical aspect in his arsenal. He can apply the armbar, but we know that Zack Sabre Jr. has a lot of arsenal to apply many submission moves, how to counter every move that his opponent is about to do. It took only an open stretch to put away Rocky and force him to tap out, and he retained the IWGP World Television title. Next up, we got the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry, taking on the newly teamed Action Andretti and Darius Martin. I have to say this is a pretty good, solid team. Now, I know some people, Ian Riccaboni and what's his name, Caprice Coleman, have talked about that they have become a good team. Now, not to take anything away from what Darius and Dante have done in the past, but they have seemed like a very good, stable team recently. So what I like about this, that they're able to work together. And of course, it was that new move that they applied recently that allowed them to win against the Workhorsemen, giving them the win. But of course, no code of honor at the end of the match. The Workhorsemen just walked away. Now, our next match, we can all agree this is a squash match. We have Kip Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade taking on Bryce Satin, Jacob Angus Young, and Shogun. This match ended with a powerbomb onto Jacob Angus Young, just like that. So, I guess that's squash match because they immediately attacked them as soon as the bell rung. Now, the Spanish Announce Project, more consistent, Angelico and Serpentico, they team up with Jack Cartwheel, which was a very interesting dynamic. But they face on three luchadors that we have seen a lot. They know how to bring up a good audience. We're talking about Commander, Hijo de Vikingo, and of course, everybody's favorite bandit and a former Ring of Honor World Champion, Bandito. I thought this match was pretty good. A lot of good high spots and all this. But it was, of course, the 630 by Hijo de Vikingo on Jack Cartwheel that allowed him to pick up the win. Now, our next match, this is for the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Championship. This is between Master and Student. The Master being Katsuyori Shibata, taking on the android Alex Coughlin. Now, this was, I have to say, Shibata has become more smarter and more wiser as he's always been. He actually exhausted, of course, Coughlin his rope breaks. Now, remember, they only have 3 rope breaks that they have to use, but it only took a PK for Shibata to put away Alex Coughlin. But recently, some interesting developments that I will explain that took place in Rampage. I will review that one. Now, our main event is the Ring of Honor World Women's Championship. Athena defends it against Kyrie Hogan. This was a really good match. I think this was a pretty good main event. But, however, this match ended with Athena retaining the title by applying her tights. But, however, normally when we see Athena pick up her win, she attacks her opponent. Not this time. Basically, Kyrie Hogan was not going to let this go away, knowing that, Athena cheated her way through to retain the title. But of course, the security and refs were getting involved and they being knocked out. So this is kind of getting out of hand. But Kyrie Hogan has assured her that this is not over between them. But I'm sure Athena will say it is, but it's not going to, I'm pretty sure Kyrie Hogan's not going to let that go, no matter what Athena believes. So I think that's pretty much it with all the reviews. Let's move on with some news updates. welcome to our news update. So this is what we have for everybody. Now, starting with some GCW updates for everybody. As you know, we already announced the 12 participants in the Tournament of Survival 8 that will take place on the 3rd of June. However, one match has been announced. We have John Wayne Murdoch, the Duke, taking on Matt Tremont, and of course, El Desperado. This is going to be amazing. Can't wait to see what Desp is going to do. Now, of course, 2 days later, we have the Cage of Survival 2. The East West Express, they team up with Mike Bailey. They take on Jack Cartwheel, Alec Price, and Jimmy Lloyd. Then, of course, on the 24th of June for Mastermind, Effie will be taking action. He'll be facing off against Rina Yamashita. Then after that, next month in July, we have the Now and Forever event in New York City. They announced that, of course, Yoshihiko will be making his return. That's going to be amazing to watch. Now for our West Coast Pro announcements. We have the Cruise Summer that's going to happen on the 8th of July. We have Rika Kawahara and Marvelous Maria Magenta, as we call her. They will be making their tag team debut in West Coast Pro. Now, if you guys remember, Maria was here recently last month for the Queen of Indie show, along with certain members of the Marvelous roster, but it's now to see Rika Kawahara making her way. So if you guys are fans of them, you should check them out. And of course, we have Los Suavitos. They'll be taking on our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. Now, of course, the August 8th and the August 10th and 11th is the return of the West Coast Cup. No announcement yet who's going to be involved, but hopefully we'll get those soon. Now, more matches for the Spark event, the Spark Yoshi Purus of America. For the Ignite East on the 11th, we got Miyu Yamashita taking on Rachel Ellering, and then of course we have Maki Ito taking on Brittany Blake. Now, more information coming up for Deadlock Pro Wrestling's event Tag Festival taking place on the 18th of June. Miracle Generation will be participating in the tournament. Now, our DPW World Title, Lucky Ali will defend his title against Mike Bailey. Now, 2 articles have come around from Fightful Select. This one I feel we need to delve for all you AEW fans, or you guys have been fans of this guy. As the voice of WCW, Tony Schiavone, it was announced that his contract with AEW will expire in April of 2024. So we only got less than 1 year for him before. We don't know if he's considering staying or he's going. So that's still the unanswered question. I hate to see him go because he was one of my favorite commentators as a kid when I was watching WCW, but we'll see what happens then. Now, related to more Fightful Select articles, Lance Anoa'i, you may know him from the Samoan SWAT team and also a member of the Anoa'i family. It was announced by Pro Wrestling Noah that he'll be making his debut and he'll be making his way to Japan to participate in the N1 Victory Tournament. Now, those who are new to the channel don't know what the N1 Victory is. The N1 Victory is like a similar tournament to the New Japan's G1 Climax. So that is something you guys should be interested in. So if you guys want to know what the N it means number 1. So that's what it stands for. And I think that's pretty much it. So I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Sorry that I didn't take too long. I will not be releasing the clips for the AEW show that I went to this past Wednesday. Apparently, I got myself, of course, my body keeps getting itself into so much trouble. First, it was my appendix, my pancreas, and now my ear. It's so frustrating, but keeps me away from what I'm doing. But I'm trying to do the best I can to do all these reviews for all you guys if you're big fans of it. So we'll see how it goes. Now, coming up for our next episode, we got the Got to Move show, the 5th anniversary of Mei Shiruga as a pro wrestler. And of course, we got Stardom's New Blood 9. We have 2 title matches on the line and very interesting matches taking place. And of course, we have Rampage and NXT Level Up. And I believe we have more news updates we're definitely going to be throwing out for everybody. So I think that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.